What is education? Is it just about getting good marks? Is it about securing a high-paying job? Or is it something more? Every parent dreams that education will open doors for their child. They believe it will create a bright future, a life filled with success and happiness. We send our children to school with the hope that they will learn, grow, and discover their true potential. We see education as the most powerful tool to change one's life. This is the promise we all believe in, the dream we all chase for ourselves and for our loved ones. It is a beautiful dream, full of hope and possibility, a pathway to a better tomorrow. But let's pause for a moment and ask a simple question. Is our education system truly fulfilling this promise? Or is it, for many, becoming a source of stress, anxiety, and pressure? When we look around, we see students buried under piles of books. We see them spending sleepless nights memorizing facts and formulas they will soon forget. We see the fear of exams overshadowing the joy of learning. The race for marks has become more important than the pursuit of knowledge. It feels like we are part of a massive competition where everyone is running, but few know where they are going. This journey, which should be about discovery and excitement, has turned into a heavy burden for many. Students feel trapped. They are told what to think, but not how to think. They are given answers to remember, but not encouraged to ask questions. The system seems to be designed to create followers, not leaders, employees, not innovators. We have to ask ourselves, are we preparing our children for life, or are we just preparing them for an exam? Is this the best we can do for our future generation, the very future of our nation? This is a question we cannot afford to ignore any longer. The purpose of true education is to ignite a fire within a child, a curiosity to learn and explore the world. It should empower them with skills, confidence, and wisdom. It should teach them how to handle failure, how to collaborate with others, and how to find happiness in what they do. Instead, we often see that fire being extinguished by a system that rewards memory over creativity and obedience over curiosity. It's time to have an honest conversation. Is our education system failing our children? And if it is, what can we do to fix it? The future of millions depends on the answers we find. Long before the rest of the world, India was a beacon of knowledge. We had ancient universities like Nalanda and Takshashila, which were magnets for scholars from across the globe. Can you imagine a place of learning so advanced that people traveled for months, facing incredible hardships, just to study there? These were not just schools. They were vibrant centers of innovation and thought. Students learned a wide range of subjects, from mathematics and astronomy to medicine and philosophy. The focus was on deep understanding, debate, and practical application. Learning was a joyful exploration, a path to enlightenment, not just a means to an end. This rich tradition of holistic learning was about developing the mind, body, and spirit. The Guru-Shishya Parampara, the relationship between teacher and student, was built on respect and a deep desire for knowledge. The Guru was not just an instructor, but a mentor who guided the student on their life's journey. The goal was to create well-rounded individuals who were not only knowledgeable, but also wise, ethical, and compassionate. This was India's great strength, a legacy of intellectual freedom and curiosity that nurtured some of the greatest minds in history. This was our golden age of education. Then, things changed. With the arrival of colonial rule, the entire system was transformed. The British introduced a new model of education with a very specific purpose: to create a class of Indians who could help them administer the country. They needed clerks, administrators, and workers who could follow instructions efficiently. The focus shifted from holistic development to producing a workforce. The curriculum was narrowed down, and the emphasis was placed on English language proficiency and rote memorization of a fixed syllabus. The goal was no longer to create thinkers and innovators, but to create a compliant and loyal administrative class. This colonial system, designed for a different era and a different purpose, is largely what we have inherited. Even after independence, we have found it difficult to break free from this structure. We changed the textbooks, but we didn't change the mindset. The core principles of rote learning, rigid examinations, and a narrow definition of success remain deeply embedded in our schools and colleges. We are still running a system designed to serve the needs of the 19th century in the 21st century. This fundamental disconnect between our past glory and our present reality is at the heart of the crisis we face today. Let's talk about how most of us have studied. We get a thick textbook. We are told which chapters are important for the exam. We underline key sentences, make notes, and then we memorize them. We practice writing the exact same answers again and again until they are etched in our short-term memory. This process is called rote learning. It is the art of memorizing information without necessarily understanding its meaning or context. Our system has become an expert at promoting this. It rewards students who can accurately reproduce information from the textbook onto an answer sheet. It's a simple formula: memorize, vomit, forget, repeat. This method completely misses the point of education. True learning is about connecting the dots, about asking why and how. It's about seeing how a concept from physics applies to the world around you, or how a lesson from history teaches you about human nature. When a child simply memorizes that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but doesn't understand what energy means for a living being, has any real learning happened? They have learned a fact, but they have not gained knowledge. The joy of discovery is lost, replaced by the monotonous task of cramming information just to pass a test. Think about our classrooms. They are often one-way streets of information. The teacher stands at the front and lectures, while students sit silently and take notes. There is very little room for questions, discussions, or debates. The fear of being wrong or asking a silly question stops students from being curious. The entire ecosystem, from the way teachers are trained to the way exam papers are set, encourages this passive learning. Success is measured by the percentage of marks, not by the depth of understanding or the ability to think critically and solve problems. We are creating excellent parrots, but where are the eagles? This obsession with memorization has serious consequences. It kills creativity and critical thinking. It teaches students that there is only one right answer to every question, and it is found in the textbook. This mindset is dangerous because life outside the classroom is not like that. Real-world problems are complex and messy. They don't have textbook answers. When students who have only learned to memorize face a real challenge, they often feel lost and unprepared. They know what to think, but they have never been taught how to think for themselves. This is the great trap of rote learning. The pressure to perform in our education system is immense. It starts from a very young age. Children are pushed into a relentless race for marks and ranks. Parents, teachers, and society all contribute to this high-stakes environment. Sharmaji's son got 95%. What about you? This single sentence has caused more anxiety than any exam. This constant comparison creates a culture of fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of disappointing one's parents. This is not a healthy environment for a young mind to grow. It turns childhood into a stressful marathon, where the finish line always seems to move further away. This immense pressure is leading to a silent mental health crisis among our students. Anxiety, depression, and even tragic cases of suicide are becoming alarmingly common. The focus is so heavily on academic achievement that emotional well-being is completely ignored. Schools rarely have trained counselors to help students navigate these pressures. We teach them complex theorems, but fail to teach them the most basic life skill: how to handle stress and failure. We are so busy preparing them for a career that we forget to prepare them for life. The unseen scars of this pressure can last a lifetime, affecting their confidence and happiness long after they leave school. Another deep-rooted problem is inequality. The quality of education you receive in India often depends on how much your parents can afford. There is a massive gap between the well-funded private schools in big cities and the under-resourced government schools in rural areas. While one child learns coding and robotics in an air-conditioned classroom, another may not even have a proper desk or a qualified teacher. This digital divide and resource gap create a system where the poor get poorer educationally and the rich get richer. This is not just unfair. It is a betrayal of the promise of equal opportunity for every child. Beyond the pressure and inequality, our curriculum is missing essential life skills. We teach history and geography, but we don't teach financial literacy. How many students graduate knowing how to manage money, pay taxes, or make smart investments? We teach biology, but do we teach effective communication, teamwork, and empathy? The world is changing rapidly, and skills like problem-solving, creativity, and adaptability are more important than ever. Our outdated curriculum, however, is still stuck in the past, failing to equip students with the practical skills they need to thrive in the modern world. This is a critical gap we must address. In the midst of these challenges, there is a ray of hope. The government introduced the National Education Policy in 2020. This policy is not just a small change. It is a bold attempt to completely redesign our education system from the ground up. It talks about shifting the focus away from rote learning and towards holistic, inquiry-based and discovery-based learning. The NEP envisions an education that is flexible, where students can choose subjects across different streams, like studying physics with fashion design. It aims to make learning more practical, creative, and enjoyable for every student. One of the biggest promises of the NEP is to reduce the pressure of board exams. It suggests that exams should be held twice a year to give students a second chance. The focus will be on testing core concepts and higher-order thinking skills, not just memory. The policy also emphasizes the importance of vocational education right from the school level. This means students can learn practical skills like carpentry, coding, or gardening, which can help them discover their interests and prepare them for real-world jobs. It also aims to bring preschool education into the formal system, recognizing the importance of early childhood development. The NEP also talks about transforming the role of the teacher. It recognizes that we cannot improve education without empowering our teachers. The policy calls for better teacher training, more autonomy in the classroom, and a career progression system based on merit. It wants to make teaching an attractive profession once again, attracting the best and brightest minds. Furthermore, it aims to increase public investment in education to 6% of the GDP, which would provide the necessary resources to improve infrastructure and quality across the country. On paper, the NEP 2020 sounds like the perfect solution to all our problems. However, having a great policy on paper is one thing. Implementing it effectively across a country as vast and diverse as India is a completely different challenge. The road from policy to practice is long and filled with obstacles. How do we retrain millions of teachers who are used to the old system? How do we ensure that these changes reach the most remote and under-resourced schools in rural India? How do we change the mindset of parents and society who are still obsessed with marks and ranks? These are the tough questions we face. The success of the NEP will depend on our collective will to overcome these hurdles. So, what is the way forward? The solution is not just in government policies, but in a change of mindset for all of us. We must begin by redefining what success means. Success is not just about scoring 99%. It is about discovering your passion, developing your unique talents, and becoming a happy, confident, and compassionate human being. We, as parents and as a society, must stop comparing our children and start celebrating their individuality. We need to encourage them to ask questions, to experiment, to fail, and to learn from their mistakes. We need to value creativity just as much as we value marks. Schools must transform into vibrant spaces for exploration and discovery. Learning should be made fun and engaging. Let's take learning outside the classroom. Let's connect students with nature, with local industries, and with their communities. We need to integrate real-life skills into the curriculum. Teach them how to communicate effectively, how to collaborate on projects, how to manage their finances, and how to take care of their mental health. Let's make school a place where students are prepared not just for an exam, but for the beautiful and complex journey of life itself. We must empower our teachers. A teacher is not just a person who delivers a syllabus. They are the architects of our future. We need to give them the respect, the training, and the freedom they deserve. Let's trust them to innovate in their classrooms. Let's provide them with the resources they need to make learning exciting. When we have inspired and motivated teachers, we will automatically have inspired and motivated students. Investing in our teachers is the single most important investment we can make in our nation's future. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. India has the largest youth population in the world. This is our greatest strength. Imagine the potential if we can provide every single one of them with a meaningful, empowering, and joyful education. The journey to reform our education system is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires the collective effort of students, parents, teachers, and policymakers. Let us all come together and take a pledge. Let's pledge to ask the right questions, to demand change, and to play our part in building an education system that nurtures the immense potential of every child. Our future is bright, but we have to build it together. Asan Hai!